because you're going to start making your own outline even before we leave class today. And that might be another reason why we could go outside, because you could possibly make your outline outside. So the writing assignment, and generally what I do is I start with somewhat simple writing assignments and then build up and they become a little harder. So I don't do a whole lot of writing packets at the beginning of the year, but pretty soon I'll be starting to hand out packets that have more information about the writing assignment. The writing assignment that we're going to do now is called a descriptive assignment. And when you do descriptive, what I really want is lots of words that help me see the picture of what you're trying to write. For example, when we were outside, I was just looking at some of the flowers, and there were a couple of flowers that were popping up there, and I would, if I had to describe them, I would say they had small, maybe even petite or delicate petals that were a golden yellow color on a very long stem with forest green leaves that were also very delicate. Yes? Well, I said delicate leaves, and pumpkins tend to have pretty big leaves, right? So I don't know if they're black-eyed Susans or another smaller flower. I'm not a flower person. But notice all the words that I used. I used delicate, I used petite, I used golden yellow, I used forest green. And so as you are describing things to me, I really want to feel it, see it, hear it, taste it, and smell it. Now, I've told people before, as they choose their topic to write about, some people will say, well, I want to write about pizza. But how can you hear pizza? And I always have a response for them. Do you know what my response might be? If somebody were to say, how can I hear pizza? What might you put? The bubbling, sizzling in the oven. So if I were to describe pizza to you, I might talk about the gooey dough that rises slowly and then gets pressed out into the circle. And you can smell the yeast. Yeah. You're going to choose in just a minute. Then I might tell you that on top of that, you put tomatoes that you have smashed up until they're nice and liquidy. And you're going to put that on top of the pizza. And you can smell the tomatoes or maybe smell the basil. The basil has a little bit more of a pungent odor. Tomatoes smell a little sweeter. So you can add those. You can tell me it's a bright red tomato. Or maybe if you've used orange tomatoes, you could tell me that you've used a light orange tomato base. Stop playing music. Then you could tell me maybe that the kitchen begins to warm up as the oven warms. Stop. And then you might tell me that you put some dried basil, little flakes of dark green basil on top of the pizza. And then you put the magic cheese. And you could tell me that you put maybe white mozzarella or orange cheddar cheese or crummy Parmesan cheese. You've got to be, is anybody getting hungry? We just had lunch, so hopefully not too bad. And then you might tell me that you would carefully slide it into the oven. And then that's when we might hear that sizzle or the bubbly and we possibly see the sauce kind of bubbling on the pizza and the cheese kind of growing. It just gets a little bit bigger. So can you put your board in the pew in front of you? I keep hearing noises, so I don't like noises. Thank you. And then I might be, I'm looking at it and I'm talking about the sizzling that I'm hearing, but then I can definitely add in the smell. I can smell the cheese and the sauce mixing, and I can smell the yeast from the bread, from the dough. And so there's lots I can do to describe pizza to somebody. Now, there's two kinds of description writing that we're going to do. The first one is concrete description, and that is something you can touch, hear, or music. You could do something about music, a musical instrument. You want something really concrete. The second assignment that we'll do, not next week, probably the following week, is an abstract assignment where you're writing about peace or friendship or love or war, something that is not so easy to touch or sometimes to hear or to see. So it's much more abstract, and there'll be a specific outline that I have for you to do that. I need you to lay yours down too. Why do you have to play with the rubber bands? I know they're fun. Did you have a question? You can. Some people like to do, but you have to describe can you turn around, Benai? Thank you. You have to describe them more physically, not necessarily their character. The character you could do when we do the abstract. So right now Benai, you need a bouncy ball or something to put in your hand, don't you? Do you have something that you can keep your hands busy with? Your pencil. Okay, that's better. Then just don't throw it. That would not be good. Okay, so you could describe the person and physically, and then the next go on the abstract, you could actually describe their character, their values, those kinds of things. So you certainly can do that. Other things that people like to describe, obviously food. If you have a favorite food. Sometimes, yes. Animals, definitely. In fact, I think I'll have to look and see if I can find it, but I think I have a descriptive on the dog that we had before the one we have now. So if I find it, I'll post it on Sycamore. People like to do, sometimes flowers, a monument, a statue. These windows are pretty. You could describe those, but we'll go out inside in a few minutes, and you can take your paper, and I'll let you start working on whatever assignment you want to, or whatever you want to write on. So let's go ahead and we're going to make a quick list here. Let me see what time. Make a quick list of some possibilities, and then I want you to figure out maybe 2 or 3 things that you might want to write about. So we said people, animals, food. What else did we say we could write about? A book. If you're going to describe the actual physical book, what's inside of it is a little bit harder with this kind of assignment. But if you have an old antique book and you want to describe that. So a book is definitely an object. Maybe artwork. Piece of art you could describe. Yes. You could describe a building. Now, how would you tell me a building tastes? How does a building taste? Probably bad. I don't know that you'd actually want to taste it, but you could probably take a guess, and you could speculate and say, I speculate that if I were to taste this, it might taste earthy or stone or something like that. And you wouldn't spend that much time on the taste. Now, smell, on the other hand, every building has a smell. And old buildings like this, I love the smell of old buildings like this. It's kind of a damp, antique-y, I don't even know how, but you'd have to figure out how to describe it. Yes? Waterfall. Other nature. Did you have something? Nature? Yes. Okay, so different chemicals. You could actually describe a chemical. You could tell me, its color, its consistency. Some are probably fairly liquidy, and some might be a little bit more gassy or gravy kind of consistency. The smell. So you're trying to figure out how to describe that to me. It's going to be in a paragraph, and it's going to be 8 to 10 sentences long. So when you do your keyword outline, you'll have Roman numeral 1, and then you'll go down to at least 7, and then you'll have a finish-up sentence there. So you don't have a long, it's not a big, long 3-paragraph essay. It's just one paragraph. That's your topic. So let's say if I'm doing my dog, I would put up here, his name was Guinness, and he was a 13-year-old dog, or I could draw a picture or something. It's just my topic. Well, that's just a different outlining. So this is called keyword outlining. It goes along with the writing that we do. But I still do a lot of outlining in the way that you're talking about too. Okay, yes. We are going to possibly. Yeah, so what I want to try to do is use some of those Thursday meetups occasionally for some presenting of the different assignments. Yeah, I do a video for you on Mondays, we have class on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays we have either office hours or maybe a class every couple of weeks where we'll do something or review for a test or something like that. All right, so has everybody got some idea? Yeah. Oh no, you're going to work on it. So I'm going to post on Sycamore and send a little bit more information in the sample, if I can find my sample. And then you're just going to make your outline. It needs to look like this on your paper. So why don't you go ahead and get a sheet of paper out, and I want you to pick 3 things that you think you could write about. You're not writing about all 3. You're only going to write about 1. But pick 3 things, and then I'll let you work on the outline a little bit. And if you want to go outside and do something in nature, I'll let you work outside, but then you can also look at nature and see. Go ahead and pick 3, okay? So kind of pick a backup, because sometimes when we get into an assignment, it gets a little tricky and it's not as easy as we thought it was going to be. Okay, does everybody have some ideas? All right, so instead of going out, coming back in and packing up your stuff, why don't you go ahead and gather your stuff. We'll drop it off as we are heading out, and then you guys can sit outside and work on these outlines for a few minutes. I don't know what time class actually ends. I think you probably have about 10 minutes to work on these, and that way you'll get some of it done. And so it says at home you're going to finalize your outline and write your paragraph. So you have the weekend to do that. And you actually have till next Wednesday. So if you need to do it on Monday or Tuesday, you can certainly do that. Got too much stuff? So you can just drop your stuff in this room right out here, and then you can go outside. You can come out there. I know, it's tight. I gotta get a smaller table for you.